Hey everyone, XtremeRANT here. So here's the thing, guys. I know 3.0 is going to be a massive game changer for Star Citizen. 3.0 is going to do for the game what 2.0 did for the game, going from just being able to walk around in a hangar by yourself to being able to walk around in a small area of a city and even riding buggies around, and it was 1.0 to 2.0. 3.0 is going to allow us to actually land on planets which won't be empty like much of No Man's Sky. But that's not the major thing I wanted to talk about. What I really wanted to talk about and address is the issue of delays. Delays happen all the time in video games. That's not something the public at large gets to really see. But the fact that the CIG is so transparent makes them out in the open because they are constantly showing their progress. Well, recently, they decided to add something that made things even more transparent. This came in the form of a schedule showing what sorts of things they were working on and their estimated completion times, as well as updating us when those things were completed. This is, of course, a double-edged sword. The more transparent they became, the more the delays are apparent. The problem with this is that CIG is way too optimistic about things. It also happens that it makes it seem like they are being intentionally misleading. Recently, the estimated release date for 3.0 changed yet again to something around Gamescom, which is August 22nd to August 25th. The problem with this is that because Gamescom is so close, things have to be shifted around and they don't necessarily have all those resources. Part of the resource process of the release to the public, as it were, the backers, in actuality, is that there is a group called the Evocati, which backers colloquially call the Avocado Group. 3.0 was such a massive patch that there's going to need to be a shit ton of testing. This testing comes in several stages: professional QA by CIG, the Evocati Group, and the Public Test Universe Group, and finally, the backers themselves for a more public release. Historically, the Evocati is tested for specific periods of time. It could be as little as a week or as few as a few days. The PTU is pretty much the same way, but the problem here arises when it comes to things like 3.0. 3.0 has so many things in it that a rational and reasonable person would think that there would be a much longer testing phase than a week for the Evocati Group. Oh, and did I mention that the Evocati Group has to sign NDAs as well as provide a copy of their identification? Yeah, it's that locked down. So if you did leak things against the NDA and you're caught, there could be serious legal consequences, not just limited to your account being terminated. Anyway, based on past experience with the PTU group, this recent patch is going to require at least a month to be of any actual use for widespread tests from the normal backers. As you might be able to tell by when this video is uploaded, a month from now is August 28th. That puts it well past Gamescom for the release to even just the PTU group, which is another week of rigorous testing before being finally released to the backers overall. In the past, CIG has dedicated specific programmers to, as you might be able to figure out, putting on a show for the general public. That is not necessarily backers, generally gamers as a whole that come to Gamescom. Well, this does actually interfere with the overall development of the game because of the fact that sometimes they have to uncode things that were coded specifically for showcasing at Gamescom. This can take anywhere from 1 week all the way up to another month. You might not know why this is a big issue yet, so I'm going to tell you. It's a big issue because not 2 months later, in October, another CIG event comes up, CitizenCon. It is around October 19th, 20th, or 21st, depending on the weekday. Well, again, the same issue as Gamescom arises, in that CIG has to put on a show. The difference with this one, though, is that CitizenCon consists almost purely of Star Citizen backers. Less is done than for Gamescom, but CIG still breaks things when they have to fix them again. I do hope this is painting a decent picture. I am ranting here, after all. So, with the Evocati PTU thing, that will put the release date nearly in September, which would mean that they would have to need to start working on the show for CitizenCon. Now, 3.0, Chris originally very optimistically estimated that 3.0 would be end of year 2016. This is clearly not the case. The open schedule then eventually shifted the release over to June 29th. Following CIG's typical pattern, most of us figured that if they said it'd be on June 29th, it could be as long as a month later. Some even said 6 months later, tongue-in-cheek, but it actually has happened before once. The date, however, changed. First it was July 15th, then it was July 29th, then it was August 8th, then it was August 15th, and finally it is now, as of this video, in between August 22nd and August 25th. Which, as I mentioned earlier, is Gamescom. It's technically impossible to get a full month of testing in. If that was their aim date, the Evocati should have had their hands on the patch back on July 22nd or July 25th, which, as I can clearly tell you, and Reddit will also be able to tell you, that didn't happen. The next thing that 3.0 being so heavily delayed like this brings up is things relating to their other game. That's not something I mentioned. They're building 2 games at once. The other game is a single-player, Wing Commander-style game called Squadron 42. There are several features in 3.0 that actually matter for Squadron 42. The AI work going into 3.0 is absolutely needed for Squadron 42. So, with the Gamescom thing, yeah, I know people say, but my 2015 release! That was the old scope with no procedural planets, on-rails landing, and many features that are now going to be in the game. Some people accuse them of feature creep, but nope, that stopped when they raised $65 million. Chris Roberts forcibly stopped making things up for the purpose of filling stretch goals, despite the community saying that they'd be fine with more. But another thing that people don't understand is that none of the stretch goals were things that were stated to be absolutely required for the game to launch, and things would be available at launch. As I said, procedural tech was originally stated to be something that would be considered for way after release, and many things are still going to be made after release. Consider it like expansions that are already thought of, that the creators of the video game have direct input on what the community wants in an expansion, instead of releasing it and having to guess and then get feedback on how good or how bad their guess was. It's pretty much a guaranteed way of having a positive impact on the community because they don't have to try and swing in the dark. So I'm sure you can see why a lot of the concerns that the community has are more than valid. And CIG does have this sort of habit of answering things in a way that is somewhat ambiguous sometimes, or sometimes they answer the completely different question than the community at large was even asking about. It's just silly sometimes. Does this mean that I think that the game won't be finished? No. Does this mean that I think that they're going to be keeping the game going for a long, long time? No. I mean, they probably are. It's something that they've planned for a while. Chris himself has said that he's going to treat it like, say, EVE or Warcraft or a game that expands over time. But that still doesn't mean that I don't have concerns about it and that I can't give it criticism or take criticism, which is why I'm making this video. It's basically just one of those things that shows that I am not a rabid fanboy. I'll admit fully that I'm a fanboy. I'm just not a rabid fanboy, one that would be into cult-like behaviors such as religiously defending the game against valid criticisms. That is a thing. But in general, I feel as if I really enjoy the game. I want to correct misinformation about it, and if people don't let me, that is something that's not really possible. So I make videos like this one to show all different sides of it, including my own, as well as giving people that have valid criticisms credit, you know? Well, I think that's going to be all for this video. I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. This has been Extreme 2/7. Bye-bye.